first and third defense with one out. Crutchfield pitched out of jams in the second and third innings. Kaneland has gotten to him here in the fourth. Not a great swing there by Heinle.
Waterloo continues to play its middle infield back. Dillenberger and Wettenauer respectively looking for the double play ball. Also got to feel good they have the extra 3 outs, being the home team in this tightly contested ball game now.
The throw to first was not in time as Garrett Schleck, the first baseman, actually met that throw. Looking at the runner at third, that was Razzo, who was moving towards home plate when that pickoff throw went to first. Heinle just 6 runs batted in this season. Reached on an error his last time up. Now 6 for 49 in hitting this year. Short lead at first base.
And along with that 6 RBIs, the numbers show 0 extra base hits. And so the defense knows that Scott report if nothing else, and playing relatively shallow. So a ball in the air, not necessarily an automatic sacrifice fly.
But a squeeze situation right here. Pitch to Heinle. There it is. He gets it down and it works. And more. Thrown away at first base. Razzo scored. Advancing to third is Dixon, and to second is Heinle. Another run in for Kaneland, and the Knights have taken a 3-2 lead.
Knight fans on. Now look at this. Is supposed to be there's a base hit prior. The one by Dixon, no doubt about that. And on this pitch, when we cue it up, I believe there was a pitch out on, but Crutchfield didn't get the ball out of the zone. Heinle stayed with it, bunted the ball at the first baseman, and then, like we've seen so many times, Crutchfield takes a play and turns it into a misplay, and Kaneland all of a sudden looking at a really big inning. Here's the replay. Look, there's a pitch out, but Crutchfield doesn't get it out of the zone. So Mark Vogel guesses correctly, playing the matchup game against Brian Aversa, but sometimes people just don't flat out execute, and his pitcher did not get the ball out of the zone far enough to get the would-be base runner coming home on what would have been a pitch out and a play at the plate.
That will be it for Crutchfield. Coming on for Waterloo will be number 19, Brad Dillenberger. So Crutchfield, who was effective through 3 innings, he had the numbers behind him. He was able to strand a few base runners during that time. Has reached for a triple to lead things off. He walked a batter in this inning, an infield single. Brian Dixon had an RBI single. And of course the bunt single here, subsequent throwing error. That's 3 errors now, by the way, on Waterloo.
So we get a good look at Brad Dillenberger. He's 3-0. This is his 11th appearance pitching on the season. He's only pitched 12 innings with a nice earned run average 2.92, 5 strikeouts, 5 bases on balls. He has given up 12 hits in 12 innings, so 1 an inning, relatively high for high school. People have moved the ball off him. So Waterloo's going to have to make some plays defensively. Kaneland right now with a little bit of feel in it, swagger right now.
Dillenberger, not a lot of big numbers, but one key number is he has 3 saves in postseason play. And he is in charge of stopping this inning right now. We still only have 1 out. Runners at second and third.
So Dillenberger was at short. Try to catch the number who came in there.
Well, actually, this is, we'll get that in just a minute, at the plate is Kyle Davidson.
Now, interesting now that Waterloo continues to keep its defense back. Now trailing 3-2, and with 2 runners in scoring position, you can't get too much more behind. Is Dillenberger going to work from the windup, or is he going to move him back to the stretch? Now they move him to the stretch, but the defense stays back.
Wittenauer moves over to short as Mike Titone is the courtesy runner at second base for the catcher. Pitch is high from Dillenberg. One ball, no strikes. One out. Davidson just a bit wide.
Eli Snodgrass now at second base.
Snodgrass comes into the game because he was the hitter, the designated hitter for Crutchfield. That last pitch was a strike. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's high, 2-1. First base open for the leadoff man in the Kaneland order. Corey Landers waits on deck.
Seventh man to bat in the inning, and the Knights are not done yet.
3 balls, 1 strike. Three runs here in the inning for Kaneland. Good cut there by Davidson. He was right on it.
Both teams, Kaneland in the first base dugout, Waterloo in the third base dugout. I won't say on the edge of their seats, but you can see them on the edge of the railing. Every pitch is a meaningful one right now.
We'll stay at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Outfield playing shallow for Davidson as well. Left fielder Steppig very tight, as is center fielder Aycock. Full count pitch. And that will be chopped foul behind home plate.
You know, Bobby Thorson's leadoff triple was the catalyst to really energize this Kaneland team, who had basically been held in check. But you know what? They always say, you know, the triple's one of the most exciting plays of baseball. You see a guy hit a ball the gap and then run like a deer. That just ignites the whole team, and confidence level has picked up for the Knights.
Davidson 7 doubles, 3 triples this season. 3-2. Fouls it away again. Good at bat going on here between Dillenberger and Davidson. Brian Dixon is at third. Mike Totoni at second. Just getting a piece of it. Each time he seems to get a little bit less. He was just protecting the plate that time, but he lives to swing another day.
Well, anytime you get deeper into an at-bat and you get to gauge a pitcher more and more, advantage starts to go toward the hitter.
That's a called strike 3. That's a huge strikeout right there for Dillenberger. Waterloo fans like it. They'd like one more if Corey Landers coming to the plate. Landers today has bounced out twice. .269 average, not a high number. He's driven in only 12 runs. There's 2 more sitting out there for him. That at 84 miles an hour, right past Landers.
Absolutely huge at-bat for Corey Landers. Brad Dillenberg in the relief pitching role. 3-2 or 5-2. We'll find out in the matter of this at-bat. More than likely, one of those 2 things will occur.
Line drive off the glove of the shortstop Wittenauer. 1 run is in. And it's a 4-2 Kaneland lead. An error on Alex Wittenauer at second base on a line drive that he thought he had a beat on. It may have hooked on him ever so slightly at the last minute, but another run across the plate, the second error of the inning, the 4th run of the inning for the Knights.
That ball certainly squared up. He hit this one right on the screws, dropped the head of the bat, but Wittenauer should have made that catch. That definitely was an error. Give credit where credit is due. Landers hit the ball on the nose, but Wittenauer just couldn't finish the deal at a ball that had some hook to it, no doubt, but a ball that could have gotten Waterloo out of the inning.
And that brings up the 9th hitter to bat in this inning, Joe Camilleri. A ground out and a pop out for Camilleri, 1st and 3rd now with 2 outs. 4 runs in the inning. There's 3 hits, make that 4 hits, including a bunt single. 2 errors. Kaneland has been batting for a long time here in the 4th.
Camilleri will take his football prowess to Elmhurst in the CCIW Conference, one of the best Division III conferences in the country.
Wittenauer gets a chance on the ground. His throw in time gets Camilleri by a step. But the Kaneland fans will come to their feet. They saw the Knights score 4 runs. They pick up 4 hits, starting with the leadoff triple by Bobby Thorson, take advantage of a couple of errors by Waterloo. They do leave 2 men on. However, we go through the bottom of the 4th inning. Kaneland has taken a 4-2 lead over Waterloo here on IHSA.TV. Dave Bernhardt, Mark Lindo, and Sophia Minert bringing you this IHSA Baseball Championship weekend. Class 3A and 4A. We've already had 1 game in the books. Oak Forest defeating Nazareth 3-1 to find themselves in the championship game of Class 3A. Tomorrow they will face the winner of the game you are watching right now. That's Kaneland and Waterloo as we've hit the midway point of this one. Then later on today we'll begin Class 4A action. Prospect takes on Providence Catholic and Mount Carmel and Lions. And Bobby Thorson on the mound for Kaneland. First time he's been able to pitch with a lead.
We saw Steppig come up first ball, fastball hitting. A lot of times when you're chasing a couple runs, you might take a pitch, but in respect to Thorson's ability to be around the zone consistently, only 16 base on balls all year long. Mark Vogel allows his hitter Steppig to go first ball, fastball hunt, but now finds himself trailing 0-2 in this count after taking that breaking ball on strike 1.
Thorson misses down and away. Well, for the Waterloo fans, I don't want to draw too many parallels here, but remember in our first game I said that the first team to score, Nazareth, scored in the 2nd inning, but it was a big 4th inning for Oak Forest that propelled them to the win, as Oak Forest got 3 runs in the 4th inning, eventually won 3-1. Similar situation here. Waterloo scores in the 2nd. They actually pick up another in the 3rd, but Kaneland in the 4th inning, the top of the 4th inning, gets 4. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Curveball into the dirt. Hindley has to hurry, throws a strike. Good job by Kamel over at first base. And that's the first out of the bottom of the 4th.
Breaking ball, he started that at the knees and out the middle of plate. He finished that pitch in the dirt. Good pitch, good picture of Hindley right there, who did a great job rounding his shoulders, going to his knees, stopped the middle of the ball, picked up the spin of the ball, stepped to the outside, and throws a strike to Kamel, dropped 3rd strike, first out of the inning.
His first strikeout of the game for Thorson, who came in having struck out 71 batters in 68 2/3. He's facing Alex Wittenauer. He had the RBI single to center field to drive in the run in the 2nd inning, the run that made it a 1-0 lead for the Bulldogs from Waterloo.
Saw a picture of Thorson stepping off the mound and blowing on his hand. There it is again right there. But the previous pitch, he stepped off the rubber, did that. That pitch, he was actually on the rubber, which a lot of times an umpire will not allow that. See if he does that again, if that's just a force of habit. But he didn't go to his mouth, he just blew to the hand, so everything legal there. Trying to get that grip, especially on the breaking ball. Great picture by our crew.
2-1 pitch to Wittenauer. 3 balls and 1 strike. That strikeout of Steppig was the first time in 4 innings that the Bulldogs did not get their leadoff man on. Waterloo, located south of St. Louis. They've gotten a lot of support, of course, from Southern Illinois, a lot of well-wishers, hoping that Waterloo can carry the banner of the southern part of the state. Everybody else from the Chicago area, that is 7 teams. Bulldogs standing behind Wittenauer. Now watch Thorson ring up Wittenauer, and a strike, fastball strike in the outside corner. 2 outs, 2 strikeouts here in the 4th.
Wittenauer may have been guessing. Look at, he just flat out frozen. 2 strikes, cardinal sin, but painted like an artiste, if you will. Thorson hits the outer edge and has a little bit of momentum on his side right now. He just got that swagger of an athlete on the hill. Nothing incredibly athletic about his pitching prowess, but there's a great deal of winning about his pitching prowess.
Yeah, that ball's jumping a little bit more. The curveball has a little bit more bite. That was an 88-mile-per-hour fastball. That was his quickest of the day to Eli Snodgrass, who started the game as a designated hitter for Waterloo. He is now the second baseman.
Now, Kaneland enrollment is 1,293. Now, they played their first 2 games of the season against Plainfield North and New Trier, 2 of the top baseball powers in the entire state. So right away they said, we'll take a shot. We won't back down to anybody. Those were both losses, 10-6 and only 7-6 to a very good New Trier team. But that got them battle tested very early on in the season.
Fly ball center field, giving ground is Camilleri. He has room near the track. Boy, Snodgrass gave that one a ride. Camilleri stayed right with it. And for the first time today, Thorson retires the side in order. It's a very quick bottom half of the 4th inning after Kaneland scored 4 in the top. We'll go to the 5th. It's 4-2 Knights over the Bulldogs.
Home team's losing.
What's that guy got? He got a piece of pizza in one hand. Or no, it's a pretzel.
Where?
He's got a sitting down in the second row just to the right of the whole cutout area. It says MMER on his back.
Oh, okay.
He's got a big plate of nachos on the other one.
Hey, that taco salad was the best thing of last weekend.
It was.
Well, I mean at the ballpark.
Yeah.
Not my barbecue platter I had with a large mug. That was the best part of the eating last weekend. That's a good picture. Oh.
Yep. There's somebody under that umbrella. Is it from the sun? Oh, no, the other duck is. There we go. Now that's enjoying life at a baseball game. I don't know how much you're going to see right there.
Is that living a charmed blow pop life, if you will, right there? Charmed blow pop at the old ballpark.
Start the 5th inning. Leading it off will be the man who led it off last inning. That's Bobby Thorson. He got that 4-run inning, started with a big triple to right center field.
I know you're very disciplined in your eating habits, but did you ever had cotton candy at a ballpark?
Oh, I would never touch that.
Oh, it's way too much of a mess, isn't it? That's the way they think of that.
It is. High chopper. Snodgrass will have to wait for it. 1 out. We talked about the 2 games to start the season for Kaneland, Plainfield North and New Trier. Brian Naversa purposely scheduled tough games at the beginning for exactly that reason, to toughen up his team. And it did lead to 4 losses in the first 6 games. And we talked about the 6 out of 7 losses when Sam Kamel was out. But that's been it. Everything else has been a whole bunch of W's for the Kaneland Knights, including the last 12 in a row. This one's sinking fast, and it will get down for Kamel. That will be the 6th hit of the game allowed by Waterloo pitching.
Well, Knight fans have enjoyed this run in the state tournament. See Kamel just kind of looping that ball right over the outstretched arms of Snodgrass. Kaneland trying to add to that lead.
Action in the bullpen for Kaneland. Kyle Davidson getting loosened up. Davidson, of course, the shortstop for the Knights. At the plate now is Drew French. He walked and scored last inning. Schaub a chance at third. For second for 1. Quick relay, not in time. Nice turn by Snodgrass. That would have been a long distance 5:43 double play. But the Bulldogs been able to turn that one.
A good job immediately by Schaub as he took that. He got like the in-between bounce. I thought for just a split second it might eat him up, but he stayed with the play, got the in-between bounce, got his chest in front of the baseball, threw a strike to Snodgrass, who Had a nice turn, but just a bit too late.
Jake Razzo will bounce this one on 2 hops to Schaub. And that's a very quick inning. Closes out the top half of the 5th inning. There was 1 hit and a man left. But we'll go to the bottom of the 5th. Waterloo down by 2. They've got some cracks coming up against Bobby Thorson. We'll have it when we come back. There's not been a lot of sunlight here today at Silvercross Field, but that's a happy bunch of Kaneland fans right there. They saw their team stick 4 on the board in the 4th inning, and they lead it 4-2.
Now, where are those people all from? Can you figure that out?
Well, it's Maple Park, Kaneland, right? That's the official location of the school is Maple Park, but I have a feeling you have more here for me.
I think there's a lot more to it than that. Maple Park, Kaneland is actually made up of students from 8 different communities. The communities are Caneville, Elburn, Sugar Grove, Cortland, which is out by DeKalb, North Aurora, Montgomery, Maple Park, and then Virgil. So they come from all over to come to Kaneland High School.
The bunt by Schaub was a good one, and he is just barely tagged out by Sam Kamel over at first base. Boy, that was a bang-bang play and a tough decision here for Kamel.
Pretty good push bunt. He got the ball past the pitcher, which is half the bat, a little bit too close to the line. Took Kamel, and then sliding, trying to get underneath the tag was the bunter Schaub, but just being able to get a little bit of uniform was Kamel with a solid play.
Now we'll bring up the top of the order and Aaron Aycock. We talk about the 8 communities for Kaneland. For Waterloo, they come out of Monroe County, and what they did this year, and I assume they do it every year, is they have a fundraiser for their baseball teams in Monroe County, and that would include Waterloo, of course, Columbia, 2-time state champs, Gabalt and Valmeyer. It's a fundraiser this year, and you talk about heavyweight stars bringing in. This fundraiser featured Whitey Herzog and Cliff Lee. Now that's some big-time folks lending their support to baseball programs in Monroe County. I don't know if you could call that last pitch a waste pitch. I think it was a getaway pitch. Thorson is retired the last 5, by the way.
Well, assistant coach from Waterloo, Dave Dillenberger, actually played in the St. Louis Cardinals organization, where Whitey Herzog is most known for his stint with St. Louis.
This one out of play down the right field side, resting on the berm on that right field side are the Providence Catholic Celtics.
So you think many of those Waterloo fans are Cardinal fans, or they don't go the way of Chicago Cubs? Not a chance.
Oh my gosh!
Not a chance.
You lock the door here if you tell any of those folks Cubs fans. Another foul ball that way is Oak Forest players are out there. They're enjoying this one. They already have their victory in their back pocket. Those fellas right there be playing for the state championship. On the other side, just to the left and down the hill a little bit, Providence Catholic is here, the state's #1 team, featuring 7 Division I players.
That's all,
Providence.
7?
There's Providence right there, spread out. They'll be playing Prospect coming up immediately following this game. Yes, 7 Division I players. Imagine that. 6
seniors and a junior that's already committed. So that is quite the team that they had built for this season. And here they are. They got there. It was hard to do. Everybody's preseason #1 was Providence, and here they are.
36-3 record. They'll be taking on 26-8 Prospect. Heinle, what a wonderful job he did right there, blocking that pitch with 2 strikes. I don't know that you would see a major league catcher dive out like that on a 2-2 pitch in the 5th inning of a game. Aycock today at the plate, double. He led off the game, the first pitch that his team saw, led off with a double. He's also walked. Thorson thought he might have had it with an 88-mile-per-hour fastball.
Heinle 5'11" and only 150. That's diminutive, as far as a catcher's stature. But he plays much bigger than that. He just controls his team from behind the dish. Good picture of Heinle in the center field camera, flashing the signs and saying yes is Thorson.
3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. And that's a called strike 3. Aycock knew it. And now the strikeout pitch starting to be found by Thorson. He has 3 strikeouts and they've come in the last 5 batters.
And he paints the outer edge. We just were singing the praises of Heinle. How about how nicely he framed that ball, brought it back to the middle of the plate for home plate Bob DeLeonardis to be able to make that call, a solid call, but a solid frame by the catcher Heinle.
We go to Brad Dillenberger, now doing the pitching for the Bulldogs from Waterloo. Last time that Waterloo in the state finals, Mark talked about it earlier, 1988. Previous appearances in 1965, 1984. For Kaneland, obviously the first time they've ever been here.
Absolutely amazing. The Knights had never won a regional before this.
I had to check that out twice to make sure that was true. Foul ball straight back into the screen as you can just see Thorson here just starting to pick it up a little bit. The competitor in him, he was struggling early. Gave up a double and a walk in the first inning. 2 walks and a single in the second. Another single and a walk in the third. He's retired 6 in a row.
Well, they say that Bobby Thorson is their Mr. Clutch. He's won numerous games in the last inning with his bat. But he has the triple today to get the catalyst for his team, but he's been Mr. Clutch on the hill in this one.
He'd like to get this one over. He does. It's 3-2. You don't want to get Dillenberger on base with Schlecht waiting on deck in a 2-run game. Tight shot of Brad Dillenberger. High chopper, Davidson. And another 1-2-3 inning for Kaneland and Bobby Thorson. Since the Knights scored those 4 runs in the top of the 4th, Waterloo has not had a sniff against Thorson. We will go to the top of the 6th in another 2-run game in a 3A semis. Kaneland 4-2 over Waterloo. Silver Cross Field, the site of the 3A semifinals. Dave Bernhardt and Mark Lindo in the booth. Sophia Minard on top of the dugout. Sophia.
Dave and Mark, Kaneland making their school's first appearance here at the Baseball State Championships. But for head coach Brian Aversa, he's been around the state tournament a few times, and that's because when the state tournament was held in Geneva at Alstrom Stadium throughout the early 90s, he actually worked as a ball boy each year at the state tournament, and including 1996 when he retrieved a home run ball by Jason Worth, now right fielder for the Nationals, and actually gave Worth a ball as a memento of his time at the state tournament and remember his home run. And Mark, you and I were kind of ribbing him. We're like, well, how could you give him back that ball? You know, that ball would be worth a lot of money now. But Coach Aversa very happy to be back here at the state tournament as a head coach, and maybe hoping his guys will hit some more long balls. Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Sophia. Jason Worth with the Phillies, and then a big-time off-season signee with the Nationals, and for that Glenwood team, 1996. Jason Worth put on a clinic after he'd already been drafted, and they beat Waubonsee Valley in 1996. And the last Fox Valley team to bring home a trophy from the state tournament was Waubonsee Valley, a Fox Valley team, and Kaneland considers themselves a Fox Valley team, and regardless of what happens, they will be the next Fox Valley team to bring home a trophy. They'll get one this year. They're hoping to have a shot at the big one. We see a good picture of Coach Aversa.
And Brian Aversa in 1997 set the stolen base record at Geneva High School. He went 30 for 30 in stolen base attempts, and the thing that's interesting when you look at Brian, of course, a young man, but Sophia said he was the ball boy. He was in high school at the time, and so at the moment he handed Jason Worth that ball, I'm not quite sure he thought he was handing it to a future multi-million-dollar player.
So maybe he can buy that ball back, or maybe Jason Worth will give him a little bit of change in remembrance of that ball that was given to him back in '96 state tournament.
That's interesting as we have Brian Dixon at the plate, a 1-ball and 2-strike count on him. He had an RBI single to right field. He's going to go to the right side again. This time it will be Snodgrass with a 4-3 putout. But that's the second time in 2 years that Jason Worth's name has come up in our broadcast here at the state finals, because last year it was Glenwood that won the Class 3A title, and we were talking to Pat Mooney about how Jason Worth still stays in touch with that Glenwood program.
Yeah, and Jason Worth, he was quite clearly, and obviously one of the best players in Illinois that year, but he just had a tremendous state tournament. As I mentioned, the draft had already taken place, and I believe he was, I'm not sure the round, I don't want to be mistaken, but I know it was a very early round pick, and he signed, and the rest, they say, is financial history.
This is Heinle driving it deep down the left field line and into the corner, but foul. Down the left field line is 330 feet away. That one just had a bit too much hook to it for Heinle, who had a bunt single last inning, a key part of the inning, followed by an error. And Heinle, we talked about coming in only a 167 hitter, but he swung the bat better than that on that pitch.
We talked about him only being 150. We talked about him only having a grand total of 0 extra base hits. And boy, did he put a charge in that baseball. An awful lot of excitement for a strike.
6 hits on the day for Kaneland. Only 3 hits for Waterloo, and the Bulldogs have committed 4 errors today.
The error column in baseball, ever so present in determining the outcome of games.
Brad Dillenberger not happy with himself on that last pitch. The count now 2-1 to the number 9 hitter in the Kaneland order.
That was a breaking ball that he got his fingers underneath the ball. Pitchers want to have their fingers on top of any off-speed curveball or slider.
Counts now reach 3-1. Kyle Davidson waiting on deck. 3rd inning of relief for Dillenberger. With this batter, he will have passed through the entire order. The 3-1 pitch. Center fielder Aycock over, and now he has to go back and makes a catch. Woo! That was not necessarily the path that you would want to teach your outfielders to go, but he makes the grab.
Aycock takes this ball, he went directly at it, and then the wind kept carrying it. He has to drop step with his left foot and then get his glove up at the last second. So not a real good approach, but as the wind continued to carry it deeper and away from him, the spin of the ball, nice adjustment by Aycock.
This ball is ripped hard down the left field line, and that is fouled, landing nearly in the exact place that Heinle's did as Kyle Davidson rips it that way. Davidson today 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts, also has a sacrifice bunt. One strike pitch, waiting on it to right center, giving chase. Hopkins